Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
Welcome. Well, Christine, you want to come up closer so I can see your smiling face?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. See, another one that says, welcome. I'm so glad you're here today. It's been a wonderful day already. We got a ride in, and we've had a fun time coming here, and everything is doing so much better. I think the rain had us down, okay? Because I see a lot of smiling faces, and a lot of people are going, okay, I can go out. We're like flowers. We're now blossoming again, and so let's please keep looking at it. And I don't know if you noticed, but our wonderful John is helping here again today.
Hey, John, you're back.
Hey, John, you're back. We're so appreciative of that. And Ed is over here swinging vodka. And he came in with this clear liquid, and he's had a rough week this week. And I said, I know what you're doing. He promised me that's not the case, however. So I'd like for you to find it in your heart right now. Is there anything you'd like help with? We're going to start out a little bit differently today because so many people have been going through a difficult time. Hearing Joan share about walking around the block after having her hip worked on. I mean, that's wonderful. So, but I'd like to know who could share something good that's going on in their life right now. Jen?
Well, I'm just going to say what's good is this community.
Oh, well,
and I'm
thank you.
going to ask for energy to be sent to our LA shooting incident.
When? I didn't hear about it.
It happened last night.
Wow.
And I know because I have law enforcement friends that live in the area. And it was definitely, 10 people were killed, and about 10 folks were injured.
Oh my God.
And it was at a nightclub where they were celebrating New Lunar New Year, so we think it might be a hate crime.
Oh my God.
So I just want energy to be sent to that community if we could.
Okay.
And the power, my positive, is the power of this community.
Good.
To immediately reach out, immediately provide.
Well, thank you for letting us know. Okay. So the good news is that we're going to help and do prayer. Okay. Anybody have something they're real excited about? Yes, Ellie.
So since I said I was moving from Pinole or Richmond to Saratoga or close to San Jose, it's actually I'm really excited because it's really roomy. We get to bring our dogs there.
Oh, wow.
Also, good news that I adopted a dog named Jerry. He's a Yorkshire Terrier. He's a part of our. It's just a part of. We didn't adopt him. He was born into our family. Yes, he was born into our family.
Yay! Well, yay, Jerry, the new dog.
Yay!
Hello, Mel.
Closer to us.
Yeah, Mel, we're talking about what good things happened this last week.
Mel's here.
That's it. Mel's here. Yay! Welcome, Mel. For those of you who don't know, Mel comes all the way from Warner Springs, which is down a lot closer to San Diego, and so we're always really delighted to have him here. Thank you so very much. And welcome to Donna and Kevin for being here, and Christine. And the sneaker that just snuck in. Hello, Dr. Eileen.
Yay! Yay!
How's your cabin doing?
Well, the cabin's doing good. It's getting to and from it. That is the tricky part.
Right.
Most of the roads have been closed. Bear Creek Road probably won't be reopened until they said end of spring, early summer.
Wow.
Huge damage on that. So there's a lot of folks who are have had a lot of loss right now. It was a couple who they just finished getting their house rebuilt after the fire.
Oh,
and
no.
a redwood tree fell through.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
But they're getting a lot of love.
So that's the good news. They're receiving a lot of love. Yeah.
And it's amazing watching people just be there for each other in such an amazing way.
Good, good. Yes, April.
I'm thankful and grateful for all the trees that have not fallen over in people's yards. We have a big sequoia, we have a large pepper tree, and I keep checking in because I found out that once the root tap grows, the tree trunk roots are only about 3 feet deep on most trees, which is why we can see when the when the tree falls, how short it is. So I just am so grateful for all the trees in everybody's neighborhood that is not falling down.
Right, good.
They're maintaining their strength.
Yeah, yeah. Ellie. Oh, okay. We'll talk about it later. Yeah, anybody else have anything that they want to share? Something good? Yes, Mary.
My daughter and Ellie moved from Pinole to Saratoga, so now they're going to be close to me.
That is really good news. We're so excited about that. Okay, anybody else have something good news they'd like to share? Well, Courtney, are you feeling better?
Yes.
Well, that's something to share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yeah. So that's wonderful. And if we could have an accompaniment and a little kind of a little meditation here, that would be delightful. And thank you for sharing with the people in Los Angeles. You know, I know folks that want to put their head in their sand and say, oh, those things don't bother me. Well, each one of you, think of yourself as an ocean, and a drop has fallen into the ocean, a drop of water, and it changes the energy, just like a butterfly wings can change the energy of the universe, of the world. So when something happens to people as far away as LA, it also happens to us. So what I would like for you to do to all close your eyes and take a nice deep breath. Follow the sound of my voice. Visualize this beautiful magic carpet. Any colors you want. It could be a rainbow of color. It could be black or white checkerboard. Just visualize a carpet long enough for you to lie down. And that carpet comes floating up to you. And as you're sitting in your chair right now, you can visualize yourself standing up and getting on that carpet, and it hovers right here. And you say, I want to take a view of the world. And as you're sitting on the carpet, it starts to rise. And this carpet is imbued with spiritual energy because it takes you to places where they've been flooded. It takes you to places where people are homeless. It takes you to places that you notice there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of disappointment. And you're thinking, why am I on a magic carpet taking me to show me negativity? Because the people seeing you on a magic carpet start to believe in the goodness and the hope of humanity. You right now represent positive energy in the world. So see yourself floating over places where there's been destruction, places where there has been shootings, and realize when people look up to Source, they'll also see your smiling face, bringing them hope, good cheer, love, and an appreciation of life. Each one of you is an emissary of Source. And know that as you smile, as you look, as you invite people into your heart, you are changing their viewpoint of the world. Like a drop into the ocean helps the water flow. So can you, visualizing yourself floating above the world, sending out love. Now keep your eyes closed as our wonderful Reverend Dr. Jenna Childs composes some beautiful song for us. Up from the roots, we reach to the sky like a drop of water in the ocean. We realize our soul has purpose, and we have a plan to bring our healing energy across the land. And up from the roots, from where we've been, we know where we will go. We'll go to the ocean. We'll go to each other's arms. We'll reach out our hearts and let the sun shine. We will go to each other's path, and we'll lend a helping hand. And it will be in this moment that we understand. We are a gift, like the roots in the water, like a gift in the clouds in the sky. We are a gift of healing energy that can take root and fly. There's no way that we can know what the gift of our love will bring. We just know that we shine on everything. Like the roots deep in the earth, we dream our dreams, and like the clouds blowing by us, we bring the healing rain. And like the sun shining at morning's light, reminding us we are one. So we will dance in the energy of all we can be, and fly free, fly free, fly free. Just take a nice deep breath and come back. Come back here after your flight and realize that that magic carpet's there anytime you want it. It's yours. You can name it. You can call it Sophia. You can call it James. You can call that magic carpet anything you want, but know it's always there for you to take you out of the here and now and put you in a positive place. Before we go any further in introducing our wonderful speaker for the day, Happy Chinese New Year.
Yay.
Yes, this is the rabbit, the year of the rabbit.
The water rabbit.
The water rabbit. I don't know.
On the back here, I did a description.
Okay, so
The
there
water
are
rabbit.
Chinese New Year Day is on Sunday, January 22nd, and there's that water rabbit. You know, I had read that as white rabbit.
I had a little influence there from a previous life.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Grace Slick and I were a white rabbit there. Anyway, so I want to thank you also very much for joining us. And for those of you who have never experienced John Santos, John has shared an office area with us when we were over on Full Circle. And one of the things about John is that he is so quiet and so at peace with himself. How often do you meet somebody that walks in peace, walks in harmony, walks in that quiet connection? They're not, like a lot of us, me included. And, John could sit so quietly that you don't realize how much energy he is projecting until you get to know him and you realize that energy goes out to you just being in his presence. And so one of the things about having worked with John, having had him in the center with us, it always felt like he was holding the love in one quiet place in the office. And when people would come in and say, this center, it just has a different energy. And I always felt like saying, I know, that's John Santos. He's the one who adds that positive energy. April had an office there. She added to that positive energy. Dr. Eileen was an incredible chiropractor, and she had an office there and added to that energy. And when you go into a place where everybody there is adding a positive energy, mine is more, if you know me, it's ta-da, I'm the kind of clowns, balloons, and all of the things you get in a circus. John is the peaceable river you're sitting beside under a big tree. So there's just the difference there. But I think we need it all, Someday, after sitting under the quiet tree, you'd say, could you at least give me a bird? Something that flits and flies, And so, but John is a healer. And one of the things that he does is Regenesis. And we're lucky that right now, the woman who is staying with us while Corky's recovering is studied Regenesis with Karen. And so she is also, to have somebody that's a registered nurse and also practice this Regenesis is a really wonderful combination. So we've kind of been indoctrinated into this for the last 3 weeks. So we really appreciate what you do, John. So would you please all welcome John Santos.
Yay!
And you can move this over just a bit, and I'm going to be sitting behind you, and I'm not going to be tickling you or anything.
You promise.
Oh, darn. Yeah.
Is it better if I move it a little bit?
Yeah, please go. There you go. And you'll notice that the video followed you. There is the
amazing.
camera. Isn't that
Wow.
amazing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well,
And I know you don't want to be in the background.
okay.
There you go.
Even better. Okay. Thank you, Dottie, for that lovely, lovely
Well,
introduction.
you're welcome.
Brings back my memories of, well, it wasn't all that long ago because we're both been in new spaces for the last year and a few months now. So I now have an office on 586 North First Street. It's right on the edge of Japantown and Jackson. Excuse me, First and Jackson, which is the main street of Japantown. So it's very lovely to be with all of you today. I'm glad to see a lot of you and many familiar faces and new faces too. Happy to see you. Yeah. So
Would you like to know how long you have? to speak?
30 minutes.
Yes, and there's the clock right there.
Thank you, the clock. We brought the clock with us. Well, that was convenient, speaking at Cold Circle, because it would be on the wall and I could look and see what's so, but I will be keeping an eye on it. And so in the time that we have, what I would like to do is share with you about the principal healing work I do, although I've done other things in my background. That's all in my brochure, so I'm not going to repeat it all right now. But what I want to talk about is Regenesis. And Regenesis, as the name infers, is about regeneration that happens on a cellular level. And so it happens in anything that's cellular in the body, which of course is everything. And so there is in each cell, and again, I won't go too deep into the theory, but just in the cell, in each cell, there's a dormant energy, which some people refer to as the blue dot energy, or fetal energy, because that was very active when we were all generating the bodies we have. And so that goes into a state of dormancy as a person grows older. Okay. But it can be reactivated, and that's what the regenesis process does, through an educated touch, through really bringing up the regenerative response in your own body, and then transferring that to another person. And then it ignites the same energy, the like energy that's in their cells. So that's the basis of it right now. So I'd just like to tell you a couple little stories about what I've been working with lately, and some things historically that Regenesis has done. So earlier this week, there was a gentleman, he called me. He was interested in coming to my IKO class at Mission College, and he's having trouble registering. So I said, well, just come down to my office. And so he walked down to my office there. And so when we entered the room, he saw my treatment tape. And he said, well, what's that? And I said, well, that's for the work I do, the healing work I do, Regenesis. And I can tell you more about that later. So anyway, we got him registered, or that process started. And he said, well, I'm very interested in this work. As I told him in short manner, what I just told you. He said, well, I have a pain I've had. And he says he's a landscape architect, very hands-on, does some construction, works with his hands a lot, works with his body a lot. Says, I have a 20-year pain here. I've just learned to accept the pain. It's always there at some level. And do you think there's anything you can do with that? I said, sure. That's something I work with all the time. And so he says, well, do you have any time right now? I said, well, so happens I do. And here's my table. So come on. And anyway, so I did some of the Regenesis processes with him. And he found that his pain was like 90% reduced, even in that one session. Wow. Yeah. So he says, this is incredible. And so he says, and my attention was drawn to his hand, and he had a sizable scar on his thumb. I said, I've noticed your scar here. He says, yeah, I was working a while ago, and I had a tool that was stuck, an auger or something. But as he pulled it out, it lost its bearings, and it cut him deeply. He says, yeah, my thumb was just sort of hanging off, and I've had many surgeries, went to emergency right away. They did emergency things, followed up by many surgeries. But I can't close my hand anymore. My thumb won't go any more than this. And so while he was telling me this story, I just was holding his thumb, and I was working on the scar tissue there. And I felt that there was some shifts that were going on, and that's something you can perceive after a while. And often people will perceive that themselves too. And I said, well, let's, it's about 5-7 minutes later. I said, go ahead and bend it now and see what happens. And his hand closed almost completely.
Yay.
So again, about 95%.
Like this much?
Yeah, like from here to here, which was a lot for him. He hadn't been able to do that in years. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So the work can happen quite rapidly. It does tend to speed healing on any level. I've worked with athletes a lot over the years, and some of these athletes are on an elite level. Many times there's scholarships in the works here that they're dying to get back into their sport and compete for. And so many times they've had what would have been season-ending injuries, career-ending injuries, really. But I was able to get them back in a couple of weeks. I do have my testimonial book on the table over there. If later on, if you want to take a look at it, you can. I think that particular letter from that particular father of that young man, one of the young men who had a shoulder separation that just wasn't healing that severe. So, and there's also some pictures of scar tissue healing before and after that you can see there. So what I'm trying to put across is that what we're seeing here and what the gentleman this week experienced, it's more than just tissue relaxing, although that is a huge deal. Anything that helps you to relax more, I'm totally for. And there's a lot of wonderful things out there that help you to do that. And in fact, I was, from the meditation and from the music, I was coming into a nice relaxed state myself. And by the way, there are times when I'm not so calm. I just have to stay. So that's just a sample of what some of the things I've worked with. I'm going to mention a few other things that, because again, it does work with everything in the human body. So if somebody has a thyroid condition that's compromised, I've corrected that a number of times with people. Yes, well, yes.
I'm a testimonial.
Yes, thank you for that.
Diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. I was going to have my thyroid removed, and John told me.
Can you help with people with scoliosis?
All the
Scoliosis?
time. You know? Yes, all the time. Scoliosis is the question. Yes, all the time. Absolutely. Yeah, many things that can be done. There's many things.
Can I just mention something? I don't know if you realize that this man teaches at Mission College, and he had an Aikido, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Studio with us. So when you hear him talking about healing, realize that he is talking about healing your mind, your body, and your spirit.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to add that because it sounds like, oh yeah, well he does the same things that hundreds of people do. This man doesn't. He teaches and he treats with love.
Thank you. Thank you, Dottie. Yes. Yeah, really, that's exactly what Dottie said. I couldn't say it better myself. There are all those dimensions of our being that I work with and Regenesis works with as well. So there have been people that have had what we would call, emotional crises, trauma, spiritual crisis, who have been helped by Regenesis. And so that's helped to heal whatever's going on in them. So again, it is something that's physical, but also it's energetic. So it is touching on our spirit and our mind, our emotions, all of that at one time. Yeah. Okay. Yes?
And we also want to add that John is a licensed psychotherapist, and he's been that for many, many years. Yes. And a good one.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. So, were there any other questions right now? I just wanted, before I move on. Okay.
Yeah, how do you talk to the tissue? You're a tissue talker.
I'm a tissue talker, that's right. About that, I commonly will say, this is, after I have sufficient rapport with the person so they won't run out of the room screaming that I'm weird.
Hey, we all have that in here. You're talking to a bunch of people.
Okay. I'm in good company, that I'm in the right place. I will say, well, your body's telling me what to do. And my hands, I trust my hands because they're picking up on the dialogue first. I'm picking it up intuitively, but my hands will just move someplace. And that'll be the right place. Say, how did you know I heard that? Well, my hands knew. And so there is a communication that's going on there. Yeah. So that's a very important part of the work. Yeah. So yes, tissue talk. I'm going to start putting that on my business card. Tissue talker. Yes. So.
Whisperer.
I'm sorry?
Tissue whisperer.
Tissue whisperer.
Yes.
Yes. Well, again, what you're reminding me of is what my teacher is. I was fortunate enough to study with the founder of Regenesis, Robert Rasmussen. And what he would say is that we're helping the body to heal itself. So again, there's the energy I'm talking about is inspiration for people to heal themselves from the inside out. So their system is really the star. I'm a supporting player, a good supporting player, if I may say so. But it's really their system that's doing the main part of the healing. Okay. So again, there is a channel aspect to the Regenesis. We more emphasize again the from inspired cell energy to the client's cellular energy. Okay. All right. Okay. So very much from the inside out. Another thing I was going to mention is there's Jan was talking about her thyroid was scheduled to be removed. I had Aikido students some years ago, and my one student, he brought his girlfriend to me at the time, and she was actually scheduled for ovarian surgery because she had inflammation and pain and a lot of things going on, and they had already checked her out and everything. And so she was scheduled for surgery the next week, and he had brought me to her and to see if there's anything I could do. And I always say, I will try. Now, I never say I guarantee. I never say for sure I can do that. I always say, I will try. I will do my best for you, always. And so she came, and I worked on her for a little over an hour that day. We followed that up with other sessions. But the surgeons who she went back to see her doctors, of course, a very good thing. And by their own criteria, the white blood cell count was down, the pain was gone, the inflammation was gone. And they said, well, we're going to hold off a little bit before we do surgery. And so, long story short, she never did have her ovaries removed and was able to keep them. And then they went on to have two beautiful children that I've watched. Then they moved to Florida. Yeah. But they would send me every Christmas. They'd send me family pictures, and I saw their children grow up over the years, and they're just beautiful kids. The girl looks stunningly like her mother, and the boy looks stunningly like his dad. Wow. Kind of interesting, yeah. And they're very close, the two of them. So in her case, it really wasn't for fertility per se; it was for her life. That's what they were concerned about. But I want to add that fertility is one of the things that Regenesis works with very well. And so I work with many couples who have been trying to conceive but couldn't, and some of who have spent incredible amounts of money to try to be able to conceive. And so the Regenesis has done that for them. It's enabled, it's helped them, their own systems, come to a point where they can conceive. So that's still another thing. There's many processes within Regenesis. We have eye procedures for helping eyesight. And one of my clients, he had gone to, it was time for him to get his license renewed at the DMV. And did not pass the visual test. And so he said, well, give me a week or so on this. And for whatever reason, I said, okay, that's fine. Come back, and maybe you're just working late last night. He was short on sleep on that day, that's true. So anyway, we did Regenesis for his eyes, and when he went back, he sat in the waiting area behind the counter. And of course, as you've been to DMV, the eye charts are way in the back behind the counter, right? And sitting in the waiting area, he could read them now.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a profound difference. I've had clients who actually, at the end of one session, they'll test themselves with like a match cover or something like that, And so anyway, it's quite interesting what the work can do. So regeneration is possible. So that's definitely a fact of our systems, of our biology. Yes?
Does it help people with mental illness as well, or is it more the physical?
Yeah, definitely.
Can you repeat it for the camera?
The question was about mental illness, helping mental illness.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, it's the things I mentioned before was like trauma or deep emotional upset, a variety of conditions. Working directly with the neurological connections, the neurons, the cells, all of the nerve tissue that's in the brain and throughout the system.
So it would work for ADHD then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So the short answer to your question is yes, and that's why, because we're intervening on that area. There's one of the things that I'll use as an access area. There's many, of course, but the side sutures that are on the side of the head.
Would help for anxiety and depression.
Absolutely. Many things that we do helps for anxiety and depression. And in my case, with my counseling background, I found that verbal therapy is very important and good, and we value that highly. And at the same time, for some people, verbal therapy has not quite done it, and Regenesis has been able to close that loop for people, or help things that are stuck in freeze frame, which is a very short definition of trauma, where it's where, in its worst cases, where it's always with somebody. So something's frozen in there using video technology, freeze frame. So it's been able to clear that so people can be here now, and in a moving forward mentality, as opposed to being stuck in the past by something that's traumatizing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes, John.
John, when I was working with you, what I experienced was profound relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel that that's a part of the healing process that is so impactful?
I do, strongly. So that's why, as you know, I'll always say, are you comfortable? Are you warm enough? Mm-hmm. So we want people, we have primarily two nervous systems, you probably know this, the fight or flight system, okay, adrenal run and all that stuff, okay? And then we have the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's where healing, and that's where, in my opinion, that's where states of profound consciousness reside and come from, okay, in part, all right? On a physical level, it nexes with the energetic, of course. So that's why I always make sure people are warm enough. And if I say, would you like a blanket? And they hesitate too long, I'll just say, well, how about I just put this over your feet? Is that okay? And what I find is then I'm picking up that they're actually starting to get chilled. When they're starting to get cool, their nervous system is starting to shut down, and they're starting to tip into fight or flight. Right. Again, just because they're not in this highly agitated state, but they're still tipping into that. And so because cold is not safe. We know that. That's one of the reasons we're here, is because our ancestors could feel cold, and it's getting too cold. I need to get near the fire. I need to go in the cave, or I need to bundle or something. Yeah. So again, that what you're saying, Jim, is absolutely right on. Yeah. So very important now. It's not to be underestimated. And that's the other thing, is I really encourage people along those lines to not talk and close their eyes. So as soon as we close our eyes, the brain waves indicative of relaxation double. Okay, so somebody can start to go into an unaltered state. And the work works better, more efficiently. Now, obviously, there's exceptions to this. When I was working on the gentleman's scar on his thumb and getting that more functional again, he was chatting away. All right, so that can happen. But for the deepest work, I'd say it's when people are in their deepest state of relaxation.
With the eyes closed.
I prefer them to have their eyes closed, because when people lay there and their eyes are open, it's very easy to go into scanning and searching, and it's eyes open is more of a state of readiness and alertness, which is very good, if you're driving or many things in daily life. But at that state, yeah, eyes closed is very important. It changes our neurology. It does. Yes, please.
I was just wondering, is this something you learned by studying, or you were born psychic, or it's related to a way of a philosophy of some kind of body function, Chinese, whatever? Like, what group belong to? Can anyone learn this, or you're born with it, or it belongs to a certain philosophy?
I think anybody can learn it.
Question. Repeat the question.
Oh, the question was, can anybody learn Regenesis?
Yeah.
Is that, in short, is that your question?
Well, not just that, but like, you know how you study acupuncture, it's a part of a Chinese philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
or chiropractic, it belongs to kind of a Western modality.
Right.
And so it's connected to a body of thought,
Right.
and,
Mm-hmm.
and it's learnable. But what you're talking about, I wonder, do you have to be born psychic to learn it, plus some kind of school of thought that's
Yeah.
connected? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I do not think that you have to be born with any particular native ability. It's something that anybody can learn and develop. And like playing a musical instrument, that's one of my analogies. I'd love to be able to play the guitar like Janet, but I'm going to have to learn a skill set. And the longer I practice this, the better I'm going to get at it. So the founder of Regenesis, he developed this over his lifetime. He had been exposed to healing young as a child, but then his interest was piqued. And so through his long and varied career, which I won't go into in depth right now, anywhere he heard of people, this is going back like the early part of the 20th century, there probably still is a whole underground healing network. And so he got tapped into that. So when people were doing something interesting, you hear about people, and he traveled a lot.
I was thinking that, because it connects with hers and then what you're talking about. So
Okay.
is it like a cell in your brain that you're given? Because you know how, like, let's say when you smoke marijuana, you're killing brain cells, but then if you didn't kill that brain cell, you have a brain cell.
I need it a little bit louder, please.
Is it like a cell in your brain? Like you have that one cell in your brain that's giving you that one? What are you talking about? What she's asking? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we have lots of cells in our brain, and they all have that dormant energy in them. In fact, all the cells in our body have the dormant energy in them.
Really?
Okay.
So in other words, this is a Western-based early 20th century.
It's homegrown in the U.S. here for sure. Yeah. So and again, it's I do hope to write a book someday, and at least one chapter will be devoted to Bob Rasmussen. And you'll see his journey. And so a lot of it was what's working the best. And he also is very good at self-observation. So when something would happen that was profound, he would, how was my breathing? What was my breathing doing at that point? What was my mindset? A lot of self-observation. And he built this into a system. Yeah. Which can be taught and learned by anybody. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, one more.
Please.
There's a big lot of talk about telomeres and how if it's longer, it can reverse aging. And if they're short, then your energy is less as you get older. Can you do a whole body regeneration of the telomeres so that people can be more youthful and more energetic as they get older?
Well, I don't have the technology to measure telomeres right away, whereas you can see scar tissue. But having said that, yes, my answer to that is yes, because I do believe yes. So there's a lot of the work I do is remedial. In other words, people are brought in they're hurting. They need something. Something's not working right. Range of movement, pain, organs not working right, glandular system's not working right. That's the remedial level. There's also the preventive level, which I think sometimes I look back and think we were closer to having the larger society accept the idea of prevention in years past. It seems that we've lost some ground.
Yeah.
Prevention is very important. Okay. So, but there's the generative level, which means going beyond certainly what the normal scope of things are. So with regards to this work, it's simple, logical extension that yes, rejuvenation is possible.
So you can do a whole body rejuvenation and
Yeah.
bring it back to youthfulness and higher energy?
Yes. To X degree, because it's going to depend in part on that person too, right?
I can't come back like Miley Cyrus in 2 days.
3 days. 3 days for Martha.
Can you bring me back 10 years? Today, in a whole body regeneration or whatever,
I believe so. Yes. Yeah. What would be your markers for that? I mean, we would establish. You don't have to answer right now, but we would establish what are your markers for doing that, and 10 years. I think that's very much it's a very doable.
Oh, so you could even go 20.
Well, again, I want to make sure that I'm not promising the moon here. I never make promises that I can't carry off. I try to keep every agreement that I make. And so I will say also that's for people who are really interested in that, that's not going to happen in a one and done. That's going to be ongoing sessions for a while. And you're going to have to back that up with good nutrition, good rest, exercise of some sort that fits you, it's good for you, nurtures you, builds you up. Okay. The major good things.
So it's a combination of things.
For best results, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so we're getting close. So was there anything else?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
What about karma and working through something? Does that have is there any restrictions you have for a person that maybe has work to do instead of releasing the cell from the process to allow the person to work through?
I think it would certainly be an assistance to the process of that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be my answer to that because it may.
Could you repeat the question again, John? Yeah.
The question was about, is it something that can help to heal karma?
No, I was thinking the other way around, that someone has got something that they need to work through. And so how do you, can you override that? Or is that, do you run into times you can't help somebody because there's other things that are going on in their existence?
Right.
Yes.
Well, John, my question, doesn't the person who comes to you have to believe that they can be helped? I could imagine somebody putting up a screen that wouldn't allow your energy to come through.
That's a very good question. Everybody heard, right? Okay. Okay, so the answer is not a simple yes, no, because it will depend upon, consciously and unconsciously, okay? Because there are people that say, I believe, and sometimes getting through to them has been difficult. Right. And there was this one man who, he was a doctor, he had a spiral break in his leg, and it just wasn't working right, and he loved to ski. He practiced medicine, he loved to ski, that was his life. And so his friend brought him in, and he was, his friend was practically pushing him in the door, and he says, go on, get on a table, it's not gonna kill you. And the guy, he was grumping almost all the way through, but his leg did correct. The spiral break did correct. The damage that was done to the spiral break, it did correct, and then he was able to go back to skiing. And he was definitely resistant. So, but on some level, a deeper level of him was saying, yeah, listen to your friend, get me on the table, yeah. So that's my answer to that. Yeah. So, yes.
Does Regenesis work on animals?
Yes. Yeah, I've worked on animals many times. Yeah. Yeah. And again, they don't mind prevention at all. They're on board. Yes, that's right. Yes, Elijah Faye, right?
Elijah Faye.
Yeah, our beautiful Elijah Faye, Kitty. Yeah. So, yes.
Does it work on animals like dogs or like household animals?
Oh yes, yeah, and yeah. So does it work on dogs? Does it work on really all animals? Yes, yeah.
Specifically Yorkshire Terriers.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Specifically Yorkshire Terriers.
Yorkshire, oh, sure, of course. And you can extend that healing influence to plants as well. We share about 50% of our DNA, us and plants. We share 50% of our DNA.
Wow.
Yeah. We're always talking about chimpanzees have 98%, which is pretty close, but they're still very different than us. But
Wow.
a tree, just by virtue of being alive and its DNA, we share a lot. Yeah.
Can you save an old tree that looks like it might be dying?
It depends how far in the process it is. Yeah. So, yeah. Basically, something, again, along the generative side. Working with the immune system is something I've done. And that's something I feel very strongly about, is we need to all pick up as much as we can about things we can do to strengthen and build our immune system. The times we just passed through in the last few years should teach us that we don't know what virus is going to be coming down the road. So strengthen your immune system enough so that it won't, or its impact on you will be minimal. And so that's Regenesis is one of the things that can help do that. Yeah.
And John, can you stay a little bit afterwards and answer other questions?
Absolutely.
Oh, that
I will
would be
be here.
perfect. Thank
I will
you.
be
So if you have a question, John's going to be around, and you can join us, have a cup of coffee, and talk to John.
Can I close with one more thing?
Of course.
Okay. So this is something that when I talk about what's generative, this is something that I've been working with. Over the years, I'd worked with Bell's palsy a lot and corrected Bell's palsy with people. And also with, entropion eyelid condition. One of my friends' son, their son, when he was 4, his eye, it's when the eyelid turns in, and every time you're blinking, the eyelids are hurting the eye. Okay, and they wanted to do surgery with him, and I know children who actually had that surgery done. And so they didn't want him to have surgery, and said, well, is there anything you can do? As I say, I always do my best, and let's go ahead and do that. And so I worked on him several times, and it completely corrected.
Wow.
And you wouldn't even know today, and he never had to have surgery, and he has good vision and everything. So with those, what I developed over time, and knowing what it does with scar tissue, is I developed, some of you might remember, is the Regenesis facelift.
Yes.
Yes. So, why not? Back to your rejuvenation question. Yes. What if everything cellular can be helped with the Regenesis process? Why not? It's working with scar tissue. It's working with Bell's palsy. It's working with entropion eyelids. Why not? Yes, and that's what I found through experience. In fact, it does. Okay. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. I appreciate it very much.
One thing,
Yes.
Corky, we have Zoomers that want to know his contacts, so whatever is in your packet hangout, we can scan it, PDF it, and email it.
So we have emails for everybody that wants it?
That's in your area.
Yeah.
I know who's attending.
Well, so you know,
Tell them to put
Can
your
you
email
give
in the
his
chat.
phone number in the?
Sure.
What is your phone number, John?
Yes.
Also, I can take the panel on the YouTube video and create a panel with your contact information on it. So
That's
Fantastic.
perfect. That's
Fantastic. And all my flyers about my classes admission, as well as my brochure and my cards, are over there. And my phone number is 408-280-1359.
is there a card or something over there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, tons of cards, and my Aikido, Tai Chi, self-defense classes. I have flyers about that as well.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
John. Okay.
You good there?
I am fine, thank you. Thank you. Okay, and I forgot to ask at the very beginning, do we have any birthdays this week? Anybody? I swear, this group is not getting any older. I'm there, Mary Jane. Well, let me see, do we have beads in here? Beads, wait just a minute.
Donna Christensen.
And Donna Christensen, yeah.
Okay, you need the beads, are they not there?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Mine's in 2 weeks.
They're the beads.
Oh, now he's celebrating early because he won't be here.
Who's that?
Mel.
Mel.
Mel's birthday, John.
Okay,
Yeah,
come on up and get some beads. Come on up,
Hey,
Mel.
beads.
John Mel.
Donnie?
What?
Donna was last Sunday. while she was at work.
Okay, what color's your favorite, Donna?
Purple.
Yes.
Purple. We have purple beads from Mary Jane. There you go.
Thank you.
Mel.
Purple too?
You want a purple too? Come on up.
Well, it is Aquarius.
Okay.
Aquarian.
Thank
you.
Yay. And Donna, what's your favorite color?
How about green?
Green. Okay. And we've got a very special song for you. Are you ready? Okay. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. Yay! Happy birthday! Oh, please honor yourself on that special day that's just for you. And we're so glad that you all could make it here today. This is wonderful, and so please keep coming back. We appreciate you. And Dr. Eileen, do you feel like doing a very quick closing? She's got to get up here, so we'll right now pass the basket. I'm always forgetting.
I get there.
Okay.
Ellie wants to help.
And it's giving to the ministry from which I receive my spiritual support and nurturing is an affirmation and consciousness of the truth that spirit is the prospering power enriching every area of my life. And so it is. I always get more excited about prayer than I do about money. That's saying something, I think. Okay, and there you go.
So you're going to pass the basket?
Oh, we've got Ellie who's
Ellie's
passing the basket.
passing the basket.
And if you have nothing else that you would like to put in, please just put your hand over the basket and put in a good thought, because the more good thoughts that we have out in the world, the better things get. You know, it may not be a big deal for a pebble to be thrown into a lake, and after a while the waters become still, but the lake will always be changed by the presence of that one pebble. Everybody take a nice deep breath in and breathe in all that idea of healing. And as you exhale, just allow that to release anything that does not serve. Creator, thank you for the blessing of this day and the blessing of our lives. Thank you for the blessing of the wellness we have. Thank you for giving us pathways and practitioners who are able to help us to be able to move forward. And on behalf of the practitioners, thank you so much for our opportunity and our gifts to be able to allow ourselves to become vessels for your healing, because we know the power that made the body heals the body. Creator, thank you for everyone who is being challenged of body, mind, and spirit. And we know there are so many. And thank you so much for all those who surround them with love. And may they feel your love around them, because we know that it's there. Creator, thank you for all you give and all you are. Thank you for everything we are and everything we have. Thank you for fellowship and gatherings. Thank you for the Billy DeFrank Center and all the good work it does, and for it being the home of this spiritual community. Creator, we know that each and every one of us is your favorite child. And even those times when we're not sure, we know you're right there next to us saying, it's okay, you can do this. You're not alone. We've got this. Creator, thank you for loving us. And whatever it means to you, we hope you have a wonderful day. For all your creation to the next 7 generations and beyond, Ahom Matako Yasin, Ago, 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 by earth, sea, and sky, Namaste, Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, blessed be, and Amen.
And we have food. Do you want to mention we have food?
We have food right over here, and it's amazing and it's wonderful. Please, please, please go over there and, enjoy it, because this is given so that we may receive. And don't, it's like, oh, well, I shouldn't take any. If you see it and you'd like it, It's okay.
Take lemons.
Yeah, take lemons.
Yes,
Lots of lemons, because we know that you guys know how to turn lemons into lemonade.
Yay! Thank you.
If anybody wants any